Hey guys, before you get stuck into this video, I just want to say if you're in a hurry, just check out the links below to jump to the time you need for what you're looking for. You can click on the minutes and seconds and it will take you there. Or if not, you can use the speed button in the bottom right corner, the little cog, and speed it up so you can get through it faster. Just a couple of tips from me there. And by the way, I'm Steve from stephenbeal.me. You can see the links below. You can follow me on Twitter at stephenbeal also. Check out the links below. Remember, if you like it, give us a subscribe and a thumbs up down below and enjoy. I'll leave you get on. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you some basic training tricks and techniques within Camtasia. Now, as you can see, I've recorded a video here, and what it's done at the end of that, it's put 2 tracks. Now you can see if I click on here, it will highlight at the top. This track is just the screen capture, and then this track at the moment is both a video, you can see that's highlighted, and the audio. If you look in here, you can see the audio, the waves on there. Now to edit those effectively, first thing I really want to do is to separate the audio and the video. So if I right click, separate video and audio. Now, there's a couple of reasons for doing this, but I definitely think it's easiest, especially when I can perform noise reduction in Audacity. I'll need to do that anyway. So I've now got 3 tracks. Now, the main thing for purposes of this video is going to show you how to remove pauses and errors. So the first thing, if I see here, I've got my zoom. Now I can zoom right in. Okay, I can zoom in all the way there. So I'm just going to play you a bit. Now it'll come out not in perfect quality because obviously it's coming through my speakers. But if I start playing, we'll hear a couple of things I need to change instantly. Press the play. Hey guys, in this video I'm going to share with you a very simple technique I use to write job applications to make sure I've covered all the main points I need and to have written the best personal statement I can. Okay, so I played you the first 17 seconds. There's a couple of issues here. One of the first things is I've got that long pause at the start. Now, you can see you've got this, what's called the pinhead here, and I've got the green and the red little icons next to it. If I drag the green or the red, that will isolate an area for playing. So if I, for example, just isolate this, got quite a long pause there because I was thinking while I spoke. Ideally, I want to remove that pause. So I've highlighted that area. If I press the scissors, it's going to cut it. Now, you'll see that it does what's called stitching because it's cut them, and then with the remaining video, it will then stitch them together. However, with a talking head like this video in the corner, that can leave some big errors, or it can make the head look very jerky. So if you just focus on the head, let's see how that looks now. So I've just... Okay, that one was good. But if in some places when you do that, there's going to be a jerky head movement. So just to show you an example, if I double click on here, you can see I've brought the pinhead over the stitching. I need to click on the video track because if I zoom out, I can see the video, it's got my webcam. I say the video track, the webcam track or the talking head track. So that's my middle track. Just zoom back in to make sure. And then I split it. Now that I've split it, I can add what's called a transition. So you see here, I've got transitions. If you don't see that instantly, you click in the more section and it will be hiding in there. This changes sometimes depending on your last used option. Now, these are all different types of transitions. For example, the cube rotate will make this a spinning square. The one I particularly like is fade because then it merges the 2 videos. So it gives it a softer touch. So if I click on that and drag, you can see it's already highlighted in yellow. Now that is the recommended length, 1 second to transition. I'm going to bring it down to much shorter than that, maybe 20 milliseconds. Now if I leave that, I can click on it and delete it if I've made a mistake, but it should be okay. I can. So I just need 3 things up. There you go. It's now become a seamless transition in the video. You can't see any difference. Just hover over the ends if you need to make it shorter or longer, or click and then press delete if you want to remove. Press Ctrl and Z to undo, which you can also do here. Now, as I said, the start of the track is also going to need some attention. So if I click on the cursor or the bar at the bottom here and drag all the way across, and then if I double click at the top, brings my pin head back to where I am. Now, if you look here, I've got this long time with complete silence. What I'm going to do is clicked on the red arrow and dragged it across. And if you want to check, just press play. And it will only play the bit you've highlighted. So in this case, I've checked, there's no sound, I'm not deleting any audio, I can press cut. You often want a couple of seconds as an intro, but you obviously don't want 10 seconds of silence because people become impatient with that. So I press play. Hey guys, in this video, so now you can see I've got a nice normal intro to my video. Now if I double click here, again, looking at this sound, I can see the waves, they trail off. Got quite a long pause here. I'm a bit fussy with these. I want to get rid of them. Let's just check there's no sound. Okay, it's just me generally breathing in. So I've highlighted it. I've checked there's no audio. I press cut. Now you can see it's stitched. Again, remember, staying where I am, select the webcam track and press split. If you want to double check that, you can see the difference. See, the stitching is still there. However, as I selected the webcam track, it's split it. If I click again, brings it back, and I'm in transitions, I'll bring a fade into that. I'm going to make it quite small so it doesn't take a long time. Before I do that, let me show you it without. Hey guys, in this video, if you watch the webcam again, you'll see that my head jumps a little bit. So in this case, it would be a good time to introduce a fade. Now let's have a look. So I've dragged my fade in, I've shortened it. Let's see. Guys, in this video, it's much smoother this time. I've reduced the pause to a natural length and I've made the transition very smooth. So that is one thing you can do to remove your pauses and make them look more natural. There's a couple of other points. If you see on the webcam, the talking head video here, when you've got squares, that indicates cropping. See my actual video, you can see I had a light bulb or lampshade in there, I've got a door. So I've cropped it down to what I think is a good size. While I'm selected on there, if I press the Alt key, this case, it gives me the opportunity to resize. So if I drag on any of the corners, it springs out proportionally. Obviously, I'm not going to put it that size because it covers half the screen. Or if I do it that way, it loses the aspect ratio. Now I don't want either of those. They're done for an example. So if I press Ctrl and Z, it goes back to where I was. Another thing, if I click on the talking head and I put the cursor over the middle circle or the middle left circle, I can drag and drop to where I want it. Or you see this, can you see the icon? It then gives me the option of rotating. Now I'm still not really sure when you'd want that, but if I just hold it and spin it, I can rotate if needed. Again, I'm going to put these back. I don't actually want that there, and I'll just drag it back to the corner. Quite like it in the corner, it works well for me. Obviously you might have different needs. So I've got those are the main ones. I can do also the same. If I click anywhere else here, you'll see it's given me the option to crop my background video as well. And if I press the Alt key, again, I can shrink it proportionally. And in this case, behind it leaves a black screen. If you wanted to put something else behind there, you'd have to add another track, which can be done by just clicking Insert Track. And you can see I've got these 4 tracks then to play with. So you can have infinite amounts of tracks, I believe, but for my purposes, 2 is perfect. Now there might be a moment when you want to include a zoom or a pan, because I think in this video, if I find it, there is a bit where I type something around the 44-second mark. Now let's just have a listen. To make sure you're applying for the right job, I press Ctrl and F in my browser. So you can see I press Ctrl and F, and that is very small. No one is going to be able to read that. So if I come back to an appropriate point before it, and I press Control, and select the tracks I want to work with. Because I've selected the webcam because I want to keep that proportional with my zoom. And if I click zoom and pan, now this, it's not keeping my webcam. Don't worry about that for now. If I click the bottom left corner here and I pull that in, that you can see shows me the zoom here compared to the full screen, and this is how it will look. Whoops. Now if I can simply press select the webcam. That will pan with the zoom of the screen as well. Let's have a look. That's done a smooth transition for me. Sure you're applying for the right job. If I press Ctrl and F in my browser and type in essential. Now that's become legible and I can definitely use that. At any point do you want to zoom back out, you simply, if you look down at the bottom here, you'll see the arrows appear as well. Just drag it back and do the same with the webcam. So if I go back to the start, you'll see, you should zoom in. Sure you're applying for the right job. If I press Ctrl and F in my browser and type in essential. And it's zoomed back out. Now I wouldn't do that so quickly, that seems a little bit pointless, but it's an example for you to see. If I wanted to get rid of these zooms, I can click on them and delete. If I, just for this video, if I bring the pinhead and zoom, it always zooms to where the pinhead is. Zoom out, let's find, where are those zooms? Aha, around the 40-second mark. Pinhead, zoom back in. You can see these arrows. These are the transition points. I can make them shorter or longer by just dragging over them and clicking and dragging them. If I see, Control and F, and that's my transition. So those are the main things that I use for my Camtasia videos and online courses. They're very simple and they shouldn't take too long. There's one other perhaps useful thing you can do is a call out. Now the call outs are in this section. You see this tab? And let's say here I'm going to put a little circle around the Control and F button that appears. Just I want to draw attention to it. I want a red circle. So if I click on here and I click that, now it's a little bit strange. See, it's a transparent box at this point. That will draw a circle on there for me. So if I bring that up and I just size it to how I want. Now let's not forget it's going to be a circle, so it's not going to have perfectly square edges. I might need to make it a little bit wider than I think I'd need to. And if I pull the pinhead back and zoom out, you can see it's added this to the 4th track. Now the gradient here, this is the drawing time, and if I drag and drop it, it changes the duration. However, I can edit the call out by right clicking on it. And you see here it's got draw time. So if it was too slow for my liking, I can just make that drag up here and you'll see down the bottom how it's changing. I can also move it if I need to, although it's in a perfect place there. So let's see. Let's have a look how that comes out. Just watch the screen here. And type in essential. Okay, so that's probably a little bit too long. So I'm going to click on the end here and bring it back because it pans out before that's finished. I've just dragged that to approximately where I think. If I bring the pinhead back, let's have a look now. And type in essential. Still maybe a bit too long there. Try it one more time. And type in essential. Still quite long. One last time. It's very short. Perhaps this isn't best for it because it gets a bit confusing. Let's see. And type in essential. Okay, that should work. And then I could perhaps put another one down here if I wanted. Now you've got a multitude of these. If you click on the arrow here, you can all do all sorts of things and texts to draw your audience's attention to them. Again, if I didn't like that, just click on it and press the delete button and it will be gone. Now, to improve audio, I've got another video on that. I won't go into it right now, but check out my noise reduction for Camtasia using Audacity video. I'll put a link below, and that way will help you to improve your audio quality. However, there are a couple of things you can do in Camtasia. If you click on the audio, and again, this is easiest if you make sure you've got your focus on the track. And if I click, make sure you select all the media on the track. So click where the track name is and select all media, because generally you don't want to be changing just part of the audio. Perhaps you want to put the volume up or down. You can do that. You can add fades. And an easy one, you see this is, you might need to expand this. Just click selected media property and enable noise removal advanced. Now I would bring this down to about 20, 16, anywhere from 16 to 20. Otherwise it sounds a bit digital and not quite right. If I press auto noise training, it will then do that noise reduction for me. Let's just have a listen. It doesn't always come onto this track immediately. So from there I've come down to... Okay, it's not immediately apparent, but it will be in the produced video. It's a bit of a flaw, I think, with Camtasia. They do this, but you only hear the difference when you produce the video at the end. So be aware of that. Don't overdo it, because I've done that in the past and it sounded horrible. I'm also going to click remove clicks and maybe bring that down to a similar amount, maybe 20. So I've reduced the background noise. I've made some edits and fades. I've tried to make my video look as natural as possible. Now I would do this for the whole video, but for the purposes of this, I'm going to produce it and press Ctrl and S to save it. And then I'll come up to the top. And obviously, remember what I said about using the other video to reduce the noise more effectively. And I can press Ctrl and P, or I can do File. And see, you've got lots of options: share to Vimeo, Google Drive, YouTube. You definitely want a 1080, 720p or above, and click Next. Choose your chosen folder destination, obviously, and you're going to get your video. Click Finish, and then this might take a couple of minutes. So I hope that's helpful. Once it's finished, it will autoplay. Any questions, leave them below. I just want to say I really like Camtasia. I find it very easy to use, and I hope you do too. And check out the links below for further info. And also give me a subscribe and a thumbs up for this video if you like it. If you think it could be better, tell me how in the comments. Thanks, guys.